The third set will be played on Bel'Shir Vestige. Spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the orange Protoss, playing for Samsung Khan. His name is Jangbi, nicknamed the Almighty. And his opponent, spawning in the top left-hand position.
As a blue Zerg, he did get knocked out. He did get knocked out in round of 4 against this opponent, so now he is up for some revenge. His name is Zero.
Round of 4 from an old Brood War tournament, guys, by the way. Not the most recent WCS.
Old Brood War was the last one, which happened approximately a year ago.
So 7 years in esport years.
About.
Yep. Interesting stats here. I think in StarCraft2 these guys are 7 and 7. It's pretty close statistics there. So these guys are neck and neck.
I mean, there was a huge rivalry going on even before going into the round of 4 in StarCraft1.
Yeah.
The teaming OSL round of 4.
That's true. So Jangbi, he's making a pylon in his base. Looks like he may go for that in-base gateway expand. He can still do the forge in-base expand, but based on the pylon positioning and the fact that there's a gateway now on the way, he is going to go for the gateway expand. This is really cool because we've been seeing this kind of on and off, almost feels like in Pro League. Some players, they can have good success with it and make it work. Other players, they tend to just stick to the forge expand opening. And we do have a hatchery first from Zero here. Pretty greedy, actually. Double gas is being taken by Jangbi here.
Yeah, so just standard opening by Jangbi. You know, there's 2 ways to open up. Like you said, fast expansion or in-base gateway first and then expansion.
Yeah. So Jangbi's gateway's finished here. Are we going to see anything built or just straight into the core? That's the question. We have 3 drones that were sent out here just in case we had a forge opening from Jangbi. Jangbi could have cannoned his opponent, but he went for the gateway open, so that's not going to be the case. Cybernetics score now starting from Jangbi behind this, and we do have that pool going up now for Zero.
With Jangbi knowing that his opponent's pool is slightly late, he could take the expansion a little bit earlier again, against the hatch first compared to the spawning pool first.
Yep, he certainly could. And he's still mining gas though, so Jangbi, he's not necessarily worried about getting that expansion up as fast as he possibly can.
Yeah,
You're what?
I was just like
You're
surprised for a
speechless.
I was surprised for a second that the screen was slowing down, and that was from the OGN feed. You know, everything else was good, and then only the game screen itself was slowing down for a second. So I'm like, is there a problem with is there a lag happening at the OGN studio? So I was just like surprised for the second, waiting for the drop screen to show up, but it just didn't happen.
No drop screen.
No drop screen. It's all good.
It's all good. Third hatchery on the way now for our WOONGJIN Stars player Zero. Been having some success earlier on in the match here. He's up 2 wins. Jangbi getting his expansion up as well, and we now finally have gas on the way for Zero. It's actually a pretty early gas if you think about it.
Well, against the gateway opening is, you know, average timing. You know,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, against the gateway.
Yeah, some other players, they get the gas as soon as they see lack of expansion at the natural, and they try to go for a lot of Zerglings, a lot of Speedlings, and trying to harass their opponent early on into the game.
Oh, okay, look at this. We have 2 gateways here, and there's already 1 in the main base, so it's not going to be a 4-gateway pressure attack with the 4-gate, but there will be 3 gates, and they're going to finish around the same time as warp gates, so we could see some aggression here from Jangbi.
Well, if he does have a probe hidden outside of his main base, then it's actually much better for him to apply the pressure, because his opponent, he went for the 15 hatch, and now he's getting a 3rd base, which is around standard time for Zerg players against a fast expansion.
Ooh, unfortunate for Zero. He just barely missed this probe over here, moving across the map, trying to be sneaky.
And just 10 seconds ago, there was a Zergling in that position trying to scout the proxy pylon.
Oh, no! That's terrible for Zero. He's so close to spotting that.
I don't know what's up with Zero when he's facing Jangbi. You know, during the specials, yes, Jangbi did defeat Zero, but that was, you know, a little bit half serious, half joke. But even in round of 4, Brood War OSL, Zero was doing fantastic against his opponent, and he just misses little things here and there, and then eventually he lost the game against Jangbi.
Now, it seems like Jangbi gets a little bit extra luck whenever he plays against Zero, or other way around, Zero just gets unlucky.
Behind this double Stargate on the way by Jangbi as his opponent, Zero. He got a Roach Warren up. He has 4 Roaches out on the way.
Yeah, so Zero, he's got a good idea that there's going to be some type of pressure headed his way here. And Jangbi sending out the Zealots across the map now. Remember, Zealots, they're only 100 minerals. They don't cost any gas. So the double Stargate follow-up, he's going to have a lot of gas banked up.
Yes.
For the follow-up here, we have the layer about halfway down. The Zealots going to work on this Queen. Time Warp going down. Will that be enough to pick up the Queen? Yes, it will be. Zero, he needs to send his units over there to attack. The Zealots and the Mothership Corps are going to town on this hatchery here, and Jangbi may actually end up killing this off.
Yeah, he might just ignore some of the units over there and try to focus down on the hatchery. He could definitely do so, but no, Jangbi Zealots are attacking at the Roaches for a little bit, and that might actually save the hatchery, but is that going to be enough? There's little hit left. Mothership Corps trying to eat away on the hatchery.
And I think the Mothership Corps, is it going to get it?
Yes, it does!
And recalls afterwards. So Zero now falling behind to his opponent Jangbi here. Excellent control from Jangbi. I love the opening, sending in more Zealots now to the natural.
What is this, PvP from Jangbi?
Dude,
Zealots running around once again at the natural and the main base at the same time.
And you know, he's going to get a free Queen kill here as well because the Queens are too slow off of the creep and the Queen goes down. Jangbi also making a lot of Phoenix behind this. Things are looking really good for him, and the camera keeps focusing on Odin, the Samsung Khan, one of the player coaches.
The Zerg coach.
The Zerg
playing coach from Samsung Khan. And this is fantastic by Jangbi. By just showing the Zealots, he forced a lot of Roaches out of his opponent. And there is an Overseer going inside the main base, but 5 Phoenixes are already out on the way.
Yep, the Phoenixes are shown here and revealed. That's a little bit of an unfortunate event here for Jangbi because we're going to see the Spore Crawlers go up all across the map now. But, you know, there's already 6 out. He's going to be able to do a good amount of harassment here. And Zero, he's going to be forced to make those Hydras maybe a little bit earlier than he would want to.
And now with the Phoenixes coming out, he's going to pick up some of these drones at the third base, which is really nice for Jangbi. Just rubbing the salt on where it hurts the most at this
Rubbing
point.
the salt in the wounds. Alright, well, there are a few Spore Crawlers over here by this natural, so that's going to scare away the Phoenixes for now. They're going to, you know, just go around the map, get some map control, kill off a few Overloads here and there. And behind this, we have Void Rays being produced 2x2 here from Jangbi.
Jangbi also ready to send those Zealots in once he sees a lack of defense at the third base. He really loves doing that.
You know what? I actually I was watching State play, the American Protoss player, a little bit earlier today on stream, and his build was actually looking pretty similar to this. He got a lot of Void Rays out. He got Phoenix earlier on, and he was doing some harassment earlier on in the game and just went for a big 2-base push with a lot of Gateway units and those powerful Stargate units behind the Pack the Punch. And you know what? Maybe we'll see that from Jangbi if he doesn't take this third base soon.
Actually, it's a fantastic. It will be a really good push by Jangbi if he does so. And also picking up the Hydras one by one. He could pick up every single Hydra with the 6 Phoenixes that he has over here.
The Roaches are going to finish off those Zealots, but not before they do some good damage here.
Going back to the 2-base push, that's actually going to be fantastic because we don't have a macro hatch inside the main base by Zero, which means that he only had 2 hatcheries to work from throughout this whole game. He just barely got a third base up, but that also means that he only has, what, 2 Queens?
I love this Phoenix harassment, by the way, from Jangbi. The Phoenixes, they are so effective at dealing with those Hydras in low numbers, but it looks like we have a lot of units over here at Jangbi's third base. He does put down that Nexus. I guess he's pretty comfortable with where he's at, and he's like, all right, I'm already ahead right now. Let me just bring this into a late game macro situation with a nice edge, and I should win. And if we look at the supplies right now, they're pretty much dead even, and normally the Zerg would have a pretty large edge at this point. Yeah,
pretty large edge, and they would actually start pushing down towards their opponent's base, you know, with a lot of Roaches and a lot of Hydras 12 minutes into the game.
That's clearly not able to happen this time around. We have a Spire on the way here from Zero. We'll probably make some Corruptors out of there. And the Hydras, they're going to finally spot that proxy pylon. Imagine if that got killed off earlier on. We would have had a completely different game.
Completely different, completely upside down with Zero being ahead compared to his opponent.
All right, some Roaches moving over here towards the third base of Jangbi. We're going to try to make something happen. But he's already got a good amount of units over here. We're going to be able to scare away these units, maybe even get a good force fields down, picking off some of the Roaches. Not bad of a pick off here from Jangbi because he's already in a good position, so if he can get a few extra kills, why not?
What's funny about Jangbi is if this was a year ago, he would have put up Guardian Shield instead of Force Field at the time. You know, that was the kind of player Jangbi was. Yes, he was doing well in Brood War, but when it comes to StarCraft2, he had the idea on how to play the game, but he makes silly mistakes. For example, the DT was running up the ramp and he put up a Guardian Shield in a professional match.
Well, that was a mistake, obviously.
Yeah,
on his
and
end.
what I'm trying to get to is that Jangbi, he learned from his mistakes, and now look how solid he is against his opponent today.
I also have to point out that the build order that Jangbi decided this game was pretty cool as well. Very nice opening from him.
This is a guy who's not afraid to do any kind of build out there.
And he's going for a roboticless style here. No Immortals, no Colossi, no Observers even. He's using those Phoenix to scout his opponent and do constant harassment moves. The Hydra count, though, is starting to get pretty scary here. And we have 5 Infestors on the way as well. The Infestors, if they can catch those Void Rays clumped up, they can just take them out really fast.
What I really like to see from Jangbi right now, he has the gas, he has the minerals, put down a Templar Archive, go for the Templars with the Storms. That's going to be fantastic against the Hydras and also feedbacking those Infestors that are out in the field. But right now, after seeing the number of Hydras, he is going to put down a Robo.
And well, it looks like Jangbi should be able to DPS this down and then get out of there. I think Zero even realizes that, and he's not even going to bother to try to defend. Jangbi ahead in supply still, man. He is taking that early game advantage and not let go of it at all.
That's what he's doing really well right now. You know, around this time, Zerg players should have to 4 bases, up to 8 gases, but Jangbi's not allowing such things to happen. And he also knows that if he tries to engage into the little choke, he might lose the game because of the number of Hydras, so he's just trying to regroup outside of the main base, trying to deny the creep as much as possible, and just force Zero to be in a really uncomfortable position as a Zerg player.
Yeah, Jangbi, he's not overcommitting. That's one thing I want to point here. And
he knows when to commit.
He knows when
to
to
that
commit,
way.
yeah. Yeah, he is actually really good at that. It looks like he's going for the robotics tech here. Gonna go for the Colossi. Now Jangbi is going to move in here. Fungal going down on a lot of those Zealots, and most of them do get picked off here. Will we see a time warp going on here? This is a good engagement spot here. It's a small choke. Fungal's going down, though,
and
on
nice
a lot
force
of this
fields.
army. Force fields are helping out a lot as well here. A second time warp going down as well. And the Void Rays just going to town on this army here. I think that the Infestors are pretty much out of energy now. Reinforcement pylon going to allow Jangbi to pick off the rest of these units. And the supply's looking really even now between both players, but that's only good for the Protoss.
And that, like we said, Jangbi knows how to make favorable engagement. In fact, even look at this. After seeing the number of Hydras, he's going to pull back the Void Rays once again. So when he poked in, he saw the number of Hydras, he saw the number of Infestors, and he told himself, well, I'm going to lose the game if I fight over here, so I'm going to pull out. And as soon as Zero took the bait into that small choke, Jangbi knew that he was going to win the engagement outright. That's why he committed to the attack and killed a lot of units.
I think the most important thing to take from this is that Jangbi, he didn't lose his really expensive units, the Void Rays. If he lost 3 or 4 extra Void Rays there, then that would have actually been a terrible engagement for him. But the fact is, he lost his Mothership Core. Yeah, that kind of sucks, but you can get that back fast.
Maybe 1 Void Ray.
Yeah, I think he lost maybe like 1 Void Ray. He lost the Phoenixes. They already did their job this game, maybe a few sentries, but the majority of units he lost was the Zealots. And once again, Jangbi going for the Zealot run by into the main base of his opponent here. These Zealots not going to be too effective, though, charging off into oblivion.
Hey, Jangbi, there's something called a Warp Prism.
Yeah.
You could warp units inside your opponent's main base instead of walking those Zealots into the main base.
He's waiting for the potential Warp Prism buff to go through before he starts using it. When the Warp Prisms have speed from the get-go.
I don't know about the buff, man.
I think it'd be really fun because that's going to encourage more drop play, more harassment, and you know what? How much more fun has StarCraft2 become when they added in the booster ability for the medevacs? Think about it from that kind of view.
Well, fun to view, but as a Protoss player who was facing against booster in the first week of beta.
Well, I think everybody had issues with them at first, but that's the thing. You have to learn how to adapt to the play style.
That is true.
But it's opening up new alternatives as far as players for what they can do.
Behind the Zero is going for the Swarm, so now he wants to go into a little bit more late army composition, but here's an engagement.
All right, here we go. The Colossi have joined the fight as well with a few Archons, and this army is just way too powerful, and the units from Zero, they're going to fall down like paper airplanes, man. Like, they can't fight against this.
Yeah. Actually, the Fungos are saving a lot because that's just delaying Jangbi's push one by one, but he is going to lose the fourth hatchery. And what's foremost, there's only going to be one out on the way against this army. If Jangbi presses forward and if Zero's units are out of position, he could just outright win the game right now. He is making Corruptors against the Colossus, but there's already tons of Void Rays out.
And you know what's interesting about this game? Jangbi's played PvZ completely different than what we normally see from a Protoss player. He isn't doing that turtle style at all. He's actually been the one on the aggressive side of things almost the entire game here, and this is probably one of the biggest aggressive moves we've actually seen from Zero throughout the game, but Jangbi doesn't even care. Moving towards his third base with a lot of his army and some Void Rays out of position here. That's a lot of expensive units that are gonna fall for free here, but will it even matter? There's still a lot of Archons in this army composition, and Jangbi, he should be able to, yes, he will kill off that third hatchery as well.
So now losing the Void Ray just became completely worth it as Zero. He is down to 2 bases. He is getting a third one up again at the left side, but it's not going to matter for a long while. These Zerglings just getting taken out by all of those Zealots.
A nice surround there. Bit of a mistake by Jangbi here, losing that Colossi.
Jangbi still needs to be careful because if Zero just scatters up and goes for a counterattack, he could win the game right now. Remember, he lost a lot of Void Rays, he lost a lot of Colossus, so he just needs to defend against this one timing.
Oh, he's got a lot of units.
Well, he's got a lot of units now. Okay,
Storm's already about halfway done now. Jangbi, he's got +3 attack. His +2 armor's on the way. I think Zero's upgrades are not in the best position that they could be this time around. Feedbacks also can be used against the Infestors as well, which will help.
And at this point, I have to say, Jangbi, as long as he doesn't allow any more run-bys to happen, he's going to win the game completely fine. He's denying the third hatchery once again. His opponent doesn't have any mining, so this is going to be the final army from Zero, and I don't know how he can win this engagement.
Feedbacks go down. They kill off one Infestor, 2 goes down, and yep, this may be the last engagement here. There's no movement from Jangbi's army due to the nice fungals from Zero, but he just doesn't have enough units to support. GG! Jangbi taking a very convincing win over Zero. That was such a cool style that we saw from him too. You don't see Protoss players play like that against Zerg.
Well, Jangbi can pull it off because, like I said before, he knows when to make the right decision. He sees something, he knows. Under 1 second, he calculates, okay, I'm going to win this fight, I'm going to lose this fight. And he decides right away instead of trying to say, well, I could try to commit here and then, you know, if I win, I win. If I lose, well, I know that I should make a better decision next time around. Jangbi says, not the next time. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to commit to it, kill the third hatchery if I can. But if I see too many units over there, I'm just going to pull out and fight at a better location.
And so Jangbi just completely rolling over Zero that game. Zero got Jangbanged, man.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what happens.
That was complete dominance.
That was very one-sided.
From Jangbi.
Yeah. That was. I was actually really surprised in that playstyle and how effective it was as well. But I think it comes down to having those proxy pylons around the map and making the most of them, and just the aggression, non-stop aggression from Jangbi.
So now we have the WCS finalists coming out. From WOONGJIN Stars, Soki is up next.
Looks like WOONGJIN Stars does not want to fool around